right in the kisser.
Hey, how the devil are you? Now you know what day it is. It's... And on a Friday, I like to have a little tipple. Now, if you're teetotal, you can have a cup of tea, cup of coffee. If you don't want to see this part of the video, you can skip forward, timestamps below for that 13% if you don't want to watch this. So what do we have today? Right, now this is produced by Ad Astra Brewery. I really struggle saying brewery. It doesn't, brewery, there you go. Right, it's a 4% pale ale. And I can't pronounce that. I think it's Quike, Nora Quike, something like that. It says Norge. Let me just show you. Can you see that? Can you see it on there? Not sure if you show you. I'll put it up on the screen. It says Norge-Kvik, but I think it's pronounced Nora. Nora is Norway, and I think Quike is like a hop or something like that. So I think this is Norwegian, but it says they've worked in conjunction with other breweries around Europe, the UK, Germany, Belgium, and Croatia. So there you go. And it says on here, in this pale ale, it's got Simcoe, Citra, and Sabro hops, whatever they are. I'm sure they're lovely. Right, let's spark it open. Oh, it's got a strong aroma to it. Quite nice. In saying that, mind, I do think I've got an issue because I love all of them. I wouldn't make a good beer reviewer. I just go, nice, nice, nice. Yeah, that's a good bit of pour in there. There you go. Flipping heck. Whoa. I'm going to let that settle. I'll be back in a sec.
1 minute later.
Okay, that's a bit better. I can actually drink it without getting a face full of foam. It's got a little bit of fizz. It's quite flat, which is good because it doesn't get you all gassy. There's the colour of it there. How can I describe the flavour? Oh, it's got a little bit of an aftertaste, which I'm not sure of. Initially, it's really nice, quite refreshing, but a little bit of an aftertaste that lingers for a second or two. I'll still drink it, don't worry about that. Anyway, let's get on with the video. Hoi! Have a look what we have today. Oh, check it out. Now, these are from Starke Sound. First time I've heard of Starke Sound, but they've been around for a while. I think they were founded in 2009, based out of California in the good old US of A. Okay, and these are the Beta 5s. Now, I know in the US you say beta, and as they are American speakers, I should be saying beta, but I'm a Brit and it doesn't roll off the tongue very well. So I apologise, I'm going to have to say beta. So bear with me, okay? Anyway, let's bring you in for a closer look. Hoi! And here they are. Ta-da! Now I have done an unboxing, if you want to see that, if you're interested in seeing the unboxing short, I'll put it up there and in the description box below. Right, I've just noticed, just over there, what the flip is that? What's that about? Is it a stork, an ostrich, an emu? I have no idea what it is, but I tell you something, it is freaking me out. I'm gonna have to move that, give me a sec. Right, I'm back in the room. Okay. So back to the speakers. That's where I was, wasn't it? Right, so they seem very well made, very well built. They're quite hefty. They've got this cloth mesh grill on the front over MDF. It's not magnetized though, so it is just popped on there with pins. I would have preferred to have magnets on there because I think these sound better with the grills off personally. And I don't like to see these, and it's nice and easy then to just pop them back on. But I'm being pedantic. It's nothing major. They go on and come off really easily. So there's no problem there. Let's take that one off as well. So they come off quite easily, and they're very well made. Look at that. Really well put together. Okay, so we got this nice sort of smooth baffle here. Looks very nice, looks like a charcoal black. Got a little bit of a wave guide here to help with dispersion. It's got a 29mm 1.15 inch tweeter, soft dome tweeter. Now the good thing about that tweeter is that it's enclosed inside, so that should help reduce any reflection it's got from inside the cabinet. So the woofer is 5.25 inches and it's dry carbon acoustic sandwich woofer. There you go. Oh, looks very nice. It's got a wood grain vinyl wrap, but it's textured. It's textured, and I don't know if you can see the textures in it, but you can hear my finger going across. It is textured there. It is, like I said, it's not wood veneer. It is a vinyl wrap, but it's done very well. Really well, in fact. Very well put together. So they come in 3 colours: Lunar White, Oak Ebony Black, and I think it's pronounced Aoki, potentially. A-O-K-I. Aoki? Yoki? I don't know. Aoki Flaxen Grey. Dimensions are 11.9 inches tall, that's 302mm, 7.2 inches wide, that's 182mm, and 13 inches deep, that's 330mm. So they're actually deeper than they are tall. They weigh 15 pounds each, or 6.8 kilograms each. Frequency response is 45 Hz to 23 kHz, so they go down pretty low. Sensitivity is 86 dB, so a little bit hard to drive there, and they're 4 ohms. So you're going to need an amplifier with a little bit of oomph in it. I mean, the recommended amplifier power is from 30 watts upwards. I would say at least 50 watts, around about there. I would suggest that. I used them on my amplifier, which is, 75 watts into 8 ohms times 2, and into 4 ohms is 115 watts. And that powered them absolutely fine. However, there was a big difference in volume compared to the Lintons. When I was using these, I had to turn the volume up quite a bit to get the same volume as the Lintons. So they are a little bit hard to drive, so don't expect to stick a 20 watt amp on them and get the most potential out of them. Right, let's have a little look around the back. Okay, on the back, rear ported. Right, no by-wire in here, single binding posts, and it's good to see. So they look very decent. I think they're gold plated, and it's got an aluminium plate there rather than having that cheap nasty plastic one that you see on a lot of speakers. It's nice to see that having an aluminium plate on there. I don't know if it'll make any difference to the sound, but it does seem a little bit more premium. Now, I think these are very good speakers, but there are some caveats you should know about. I think so anyway. So first of all, they are a bookshelf speaker. However, they're very deep. Look how deep they go. Hang on. They're very deep speaker. And as I said earlier, they're deeper than they are tall. All right. So you know, putting them on a bookshelf, I probably wouldn't recommend. You need a big bookshelf. As a desktop speaker, again, it would take up a lot of space on your desktop. Unless you've got a really big desktop, and most desktops aren't. So, you know, I think the best place for these are on speaker stands. Now, the company do provide, I think they're 170 quid. They do provide speaker stands that go with it. It does come with screws. It came with screws there that go attached to the proprietary speaker stands that they sell. However, it also does have, if you haven't got the speaker stands, it does come with some rubber feet there. There's 4 there. I don't know if you can see that. There's actually 4 in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's another one for the other one. But I think the best place for them is on speaker stands personally. Now, you always hear this term thrown about a bit. Bring your speakers out into the room. It's not always the case. It's not always the case. Now, when I had these out in the room a little bit, I didn't like the sound of them. As soon as I put them back near the wall, much better. Really enjoyed the sound of them a lot better. So I had them around, I think if I was to measure, maybe 10, 11 inches from the wall, about that. And I didn't like them straight out, facing outwards. I just toed them in just a little bit, just like that. And I thought that was the sweet spot. Now, off-axis response, what I found was, even with this dispersion here, they're okay horizontally. So when you're moving back and forth that way, they're okay. Obviously, if you go far over there, you're going to lose a bit of clarity, right? But vertically, you're probably only looking about maybe a foot, 6 inches to a foot above, and you start losing a bit of clarity. So I think the sweet spot for these is tweeter height to ear level, or maybe here, all right, around about there. And I thought that sounded pretty lovely. So when I got them set up as I liked them, I was really impressed with them. The mid-range, really smooth, not harsh at all. The treble I found was present. I mean, I would say that I've heard speakers with more detail in the treble than these, but I'm talking about speakers that are a lot more expensive. Okay, I think they handle the treble well, and there's plenty of detail retrieval there. And going back to the mids, voices are really clear, and I think, you know, things like guitars and stuff sounded great. Now, where they do excel is in the bass. I was very surprised by how bassy these speakers are for just was it a 5.15 inch woofer. These go down pretty low, and I would say that 45 hertz is correct. Obviously you don't get the sub bass. You're not going to get the sub bass, you know, at 30 hertz below. You're not going to get that. But these are very punchy, and I found myself immersing myself in a lot of electronic dance music and trance. I was playing trance from the early noughties, you know, at school, when Ibiza was the place to be. Remember the days? And I thought the bass was absolutely fantastic. Really, really good. Very impressed. A channel called Forensic Audio did a teardown of these. So I'd recommend you go over and watch that channel. I put a link down below in the description box. And it was quite interesting to see. When he stripped it down, he found that a lot of the parts were very well made, and especially for the price point. He was quite surprised by how well the woofer and the tweeters were put together, and the crossovers, considering that this is about, I haven't said the price, have I? But this is going for, in the UK, about £490. I think it's about $499 in the US. Now, if you order them to the UK, you're looking at £490 plus delivery. So it's probably some import tax or export tax and stuff like that. And that is about 45 to 46 pounds. So you'll be paying in total £135. Sorry. Maths was never my strong point in school. So you'd be paying £535. Yeah. So I think for the price, they're a very good speaker. Now, it's quite a competitive market around about the $400 to $600 mark, isn't it? Quite competitive. There's quite a lot of speakers out there you could, you know, choose from. And I think these sit up amongst them. I think they are very good once you get the positioning right. I think once you get the positioning right, they sound fantastic, and that bass is a killer. So if you've got 500 quid to spend on bookshelves and you're thinking about getting bookshelf speakers, I definitely consider these. Put them in your top 3 or 4 and have a little, maybe get an audition first and try them out. I really like them, and I will be keeping these now as a reference speaker for any other bookshelves around that price point. Anyway, that's come to the end of the video. I have done a sound test, but the only other bookshelf speakers I've got is the Dali Spectre 2s. Now, I think they're one of the best speakers around about 200 quid at that price point. I think they're fantastic speakers. So it'll be interesting to see how the Dalis compare to these. These are a little bit more bassy, but the Dalis maybe have a little bit more detail on top, potentially. But these tend to have a fuller sound. So go and have a listen to that sound test. I'll put a link up here and in the description box below. The reason I put it on a separate video is because I've used copyrighted material. I want to use some HD and Ultra HD music to give you a better interpretation of the speakers. So go and have a look at that, and I will catch you in the next one.